Now it started? Okay. What did you do there? Oh.
There.
Good.
Now you're on.
Okay.
You're good to go. I'll see how loud your music is.
Hi everyone, welcome to my stream. Today I am going to continue making the Zelda Zonai dress that I started yesterday. So the only thing that I did off camera was I took apart the pieces that I had put together wrong and I re-stitched them together, and I stitched on, this is the front part. It goes over the piece that I already made. So these pieces, I stitched all of these 4 pieces on the top and then all of these pieces on the bottom. So these pieces here, this huge piece here will be gathered down to the lining. So on this, it's this piece here, these 2 pieces. All right, so the next step that I'm going to do is I've already pressed the seams open and everything. So you can see I already pressed all the seams open here. Everything looks nice, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a gathering stitch along the top here so that I can gather it down and put it on the lining. I'm just gonna check my instructions and make sure there's nothing that I'm forgetting to do. The only other thing I'm just going to do first is I'm going to fold over the seam allowance here and iron it down so that it does not get included in the seam when I sew it on. Because it does not go all the way to the end over here. I believe this part will be hand stitched down at the end once I put it on the dress portion. So skipping these steps because this is all for the other thing. So gathering stitches along the top of the green bodice. Okay, so I already did that. I didn't already do that. I need to do that. Okay, so now I'm going to sew gathering stitches. So in order to sew some gathering stitches on here, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to increase my stitch length to like 4. And then I always like to move my needle position to the middle. And then that way, I will just put like 2 rows of gathering stitches within the seam allowance so that I can pull it and maybe pull on the bobbin threads. Oh, is it too loud? Okay. It's quite loud for me. Not really, but this song is a little bit obnoxious. Okay. Huh? Better? There's still quite a bit of latency. I feel like maybe the sewing machine noise might be a little too loud, Brian. Maybe my microphone is a little too loud.
Sounds fine to me.
Because it's going to pick up the sewing machine noise. I turned it down a little bit, just in case. Well, let's see if that works. I just sewed this at the wrong stitch length, but it might still be okay. I might still be able to use it as a gathering stitch. It'll just be a little bit more difficult. Okay. So the next thing that I'm going to do now that I put the gathering stitch in there is I'm going to sew this right sides together. So I'm not going to, well, not sew it, I'm going to pin it first, sorry. Pin it with right sides together, so matching up everything. And then once I do that, then I gather it down so that it will fit, because this piece is actually much bigger than the lining piece. And some of the boning might be in my seam allowance. I think I might have to pull back on that. I'm not really sure. I'm gonna start by matching the center back seams because it just makes it a little bit easier. And then go from there. So like the side seam and the center back seam, it's easier to match those and then decide where you have to match otherwise. Because there are some notches in this that I'm not 100% sure what they match up to. So I think there's supposed to be notches in here that match with each seam, but I don't think I cut them deep enough, to be honest with you. Like, I can see one tiny little notch here that I think is supposed to match with this seam here. And these seams are supposed to match. Some of the boning is sticking a little too far up. Ow. It's inevitable that I always stab myself with a pin at least once while I'm sewing. It's just inevitable. Oh, I should have sewed another row of gathering stitches. Oh well, I'm not gonna go take it off now and do that. It will just have to do. Actually, I am. Let me do that really quickly because I sewed these at the wrong stitch length. I increased the stitch length and then I changed where the needle position was so it didn't sew it in there right. What's wrong? What did I forget? Oh, it's okay. It's okay. It's fine. I forgot and I'm not gonna go back and do it now. I wasn't planning on doing it today, but since it didn't work out with my skirt that I was attempting to make. It's all right. Yeah, I don't want to do it right this second. I'm just pulling this small amount of gathering stitch out because of the stitch length, and I don't want to stitch over it when I put in the next row of gathering stitches, so. Okay. Now, make sure it's at the right stitch length this time. And then you always want to make sure this within the seam allowance so that you don't see the gathering stitches. Some people pull them out. If they're not visible, I won't necessarily pull them out. That's just because I'm lazy. They say you're supposed to pull them out, but like I said, if I don't have to seam rip something, I'm not going to. Okay. Now, I'm going to pin them on again and then pull the gathering stitches. Okay. Now I'm going to pull the gathering stitches. Much better. Until it's laying flat against the under layer here, the lining layer. So once it's like that, then I know it's gathered enough. So like this spot right here is probably gathered enough, but since this is at the beginning, I have to keep pulling until everything else is gathered enough. And you definitely don't want to pull too hard because you can easily snap these. I've done that before. And then what I'll probably do is I'll probably just stop here and then start on the other side once I get to the center back seam. of the pin. This is probably not the best for my posture. Standing like this. Okay, so that's one side done. One of the cats is making a bunch of noise. So then I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side. Let me move my mug. I think that's too much. Is there not a notch on this one? I guess not. It's right here. This one is up way too high, this boning. This piece of boning is up too high and I don't want to sew over it when I go to sew. these pieces together. I'm trying to shove it through. I can't grab it from the other side. Made it too short on that side too. And then this side is not too short, I just can't get to it. Both of them are actually a little bit too far up. That one is a little bit easier. There we go. Okay. I'm just gonna go adjust the temperature real quick. I'll be right back, 2 seconds. Okay. Now, I'm going to sew these two together. Before I do that, I'm just going to make sure. I'm just going to make sure that all the boning is far enough down really quickly. That it's not going to get caught in the seam. And hopefully it won't break any of my needles. That would be really bad. Okay. Now I'm gonna sew. Ow. All the time. Oh. I thought my bobbin ran out of thread. I mean, I thought that's unlikely. It can happen. I don't know how much is in there. I've done that. I've been sewing along before and then realized that I sewed this whole seam with no bobbin thread, and that is tragic. It's very tragic. And then when that happens, usually you just cry. So after I finish this, then I will flip it and understitch it so that the lining and the facing, whatever this is, the outer part of the underdress will stay in place where I want it to and not roll. I think I gathered this one just a little bit more than I should have. That's all right, it'll sort itself out. Awfully close. It's okay. Okay. Almost done with the seam. Yay. I almost put that in my cup. That would have also been tragic. Okay, so now that it is sewn together, so I'm gonna press it back towards the lining seam and push all of the boning down again because I'm going to understitch, and understitching is just stitching the lining to itself so that it will stay in place the way I want it to, but I don't want to catch any of the boning. Like I said, I don't really want to break any needles. Oh, I think I may have already. I think I caught that one on the stitching, but I can't do anything about that, so I'm just gonna have to be careful when I go back over it so that it doesn't break my needle. So this will be fun trying to shove all of this under the machine. gonna press it, but it's just getting on my nerves. I'm going to attempt to do it this way because I can't shove the boning under the machine. So and I don't want to stitch over the zipper either. So we'll just start a little bit further in than the zipper. And basically when you're understitching, you're just pulling the layers so that you don't get any of the under layers. Probably need to get a little bit closer to the edge. Oh, that's caught. No, okay, that one's not caught. So I just push all the seam allowance towards the one side and stitch over it without catching any of this outer fabric here, so that it helps it to roll to the back. Instead of, if you have like 2 lining layers and then you flip them out, it will generally not want to stay put. Even top stitching it doesn't work all that well. That's why I do the understitching, because the understitching really helps it to stay where you want it to. So I understitch everything if I'm making a lining. It just makes it look much, much better in the end. And the lining stays where it's supposed to. Especially on this one, you have to worry about the lining kind of pushing forward because you have the boning in the lining, and you don't want that to happen. Obviously, then you would see all of the boning sticking out up over the top of it. This is the one that got stitched in there. Yeah. kitties. I think that what I'm gonna have to do is pull this stitch out because it's these pieces here, this piece here. I sewed over the boning and I have to fix that because I can't make it's not gonna lay right like that. Pickles. 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 One of the cats keeps making a whole bunch of like whining noises. And I don't know where he is. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Good. Okay. Now let me stitch back over this and then we'll understitch that spot. Okay. Sometimes I have a lot of threads in here. Quite a few. Where did I stop? Oh, right about there. Okay. This didn't lay quite right either because of that boning piece. So this is the outside. And this is the inside. What the? It's a good thing nobody's gonna see this because it's kind of a mess. Not really, it's just got lots and lots of threads. I have a tendency to not trim my threads right away, and so it makes it look really messy. But so oh, I was like, why is that sticking down? It's like a piece of boning there sticking out the bottom. I don't think this is gonna fit on me. It fits, it's just that it's very, very tight. So that's what it looks like. All right, let's see. What the next step is. I'm probably going to have to trim back all of this boning, but I think the next step is the skirt portion of this dress. So. Luckily, most of the strings are on the inside, which won't be seen because the layers are sandwiched together. Okay, let me check my instructions and see what my next step is. My book of instructions here. Okay, so it says, for Zelda, instead of sewing the burgundy strip, which was for the other dress, into the neckline of the lining, we are sewing the green bodice. This will create the same effect. Gather it down, I already did all of that. And then understitch, which I already did. And then trim this clip seam allowance, which I didn't do, but I don't really think it needs it. And press the seam. Okay. So the next step is for the skirt piece. So I'm going to put this one off to the side because I don't need this right this second. So the skirt, I think it's this one. Zelda does not have a skirt. You skip ahead for the green one. That's something else. We don't have to do that with this one because that's for the other one. This is it. Now we're going to drape the pleats. I'm going to mark them first because it says to do the rolled hem is the next step. But if I don't mark them, I won't know where they go. So, and you can see there's these pleats have to be folded this way on these. I guess I'll use white because these are heat erasable pens that I have. I really like them because I can mark the stuff and then they go away once you iron it, which is nice. I have black, blue, red, and white. And since this is such a dark color, I don't think that any of those other colors will show up. Kitties! They're chasing each other. I'm just marking out the pleats. I don't know if I said that before. That's not really the right spot. Stop trying to fall off the table. Even though the next step is not to do this, I would rather just do it so that I know that I have them on here right, and then I'll do the narrow hem. Is actually the next step, because making pleats is kind of a pain in the butt. And let me remember how I'm supposed to do this. I lost one of the lines. Shoot. This one is right. Maybe that wasn't the center of the pleat, then that's why it's not right. There. It'll line up if it's not, or it won't line up if it's not right because of the way that they have it set up. And I did it before, obviously, on the mock-up, so I have to remember how I did it, because it all lines up straight and the pieces will be completely stacked right. But if I don't do it right, then it will look ridiculous, and you know immediately that you didn't do it right, because I did that before and it was not laying properly. So you can see that it stacks nicely there. If I'd have done it any other way, it wouldn't have worked. So I'm just going to pin these pleats in place so that I can sew them down in just a minute. And you can also see that all the marks that I made are completely gone from the fabric because it disappears when you use the iron. So here's my pleats. There's the pleats. And then I just have to do the same thing on the other side and then make the narrow hem. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to take a quick break. give me a second, guys. My camera froze and I don't remember how to refresh it, so give me like 2 seconds. Careful.
Put stuff over there.
Well, yeah, because I'm doing things. Okay.
Doing things.
Yes. Okay, so back to making the pleats. So you can see, I don't know if you guys can see. Yeah, right here. I don't know. I don't know if you guys can tell or not, but there's a white mark on here, and once I iron it, it will be gone. I love these things. I only found them a couple months ago. I should get them off of Amazon. They're ooh, that left like a little bit of a mark there. Usually it doesn't leave a residue. However, I guess it depends on the fabric, but this is not going to be seen anyway, because it's going to be underneath. It did leave a little bit of a mark on it. It's hot. Okay. Oops, wrong way. So you can see I got my pleats. Just trying to make sure they look the same. Okay, I think I'm just gonna stitch across them to hold them in place, and then we'll do the narrow hem on it real quick. Oh, whoops. I'm sitting on the pattern piece. And I'm just sewing this down within the seam allowance to hold the pleats in place so that I don't have to worry about poking myself with pins, because we all know how that happens. And I'm not really sure what I should do about the fact that I know this thing is going to be way too long on me. I think it's actually close to where it's supposed to be, because hers is pretty long. Not quite as long as mine, but I'm sure I can just make the hem a little bit. shorter at the end. I guess I'll see how it looks once I put it all together. But this one over here, my mock-up, is quite long. At least on me, because I'm not very tall. Okay. So the next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna fold it up like 1/4 of an inch all the way around, and then iron it down, and then fold it up again, and then iron it down as well, so that when I go to sew it, it's already in that rolled hem position that I want it to be in. You're only supposed to do a really narrow hem, but I might do a little bit more, like I said, so I can get a little bit of that length, so I don't trip over it when I do actually attempt to wear it. That would be really bad. Funny, but bad. Okay, now I'm gonna sew. Now I'm gonna fold it up one more time, iron it, and then we'll go sew it down. Okay, it's finally time to sew it. Sometimes it feels like endless pressing. it to you. Your email. I sent it. Send it again. Did you get it this time? Just checking to make sure I still have poppin' thread. Okay, let's see. It's still quite long. It's also kind of big on me, but it's a little bit better. Okay. It's not as long as it was the last time. That one was like all the way down to the ground on me. All right, let's see what the next instructions say in my giant book of instructions. I did that already. Did that a little backwards, but that's for that. For Zelda. Okay. So because she has only one skirt piece, so it's similar to the burgundy skirt without the gathering. Place right sides of the lining hem to the wrong side of the... I think I questioned, I was like, huh? When I did this the last time. So, wrong side of the top of the skirt. So, I think that's because then you lap it over. You lap the outer layer over. Notch close to the center. There's a notch close to the center front. Line up each side of the green skirt with it. Line up the center back and the notch on the skirt to the side seam. Let's see if I can figure this out. Okay. Okay, so right side of the lining to the wrong side of the skirt. So this is the inside. No, that's right side to right side, so it has to go this way. So this is the inside, this is the right side, this is the wrong side. Supposed to go together. I'm gonna have to trim the boning down again a little bit if it's inside the seam allowance because I don't want to stitch over it. Ow. This one to the side seam. She said without gathering. Oh, that's not the center back. Then. That should be the center back. No, that doesn't make any sense. This should line up perfectly because it's the same size. But knowing my luck, it won't. It's going to give me a hard time. Ouch. I think it lined up weird the last time, and then when I was stitching it, I actually didn't have any problem because I thought I was going to have to gather it, but then it didn't need to be gathered. So this might just be a weird seam situation. So sometimes it looks like it's not going to line up, and then it actually does, because this is pretty much lining up where it's supposed to. So I'm just going to pin this, and then I will check the boning to make sure it's out of the way, because I don't want to stitch over the boning, because I don't want to break my needle. I feel like this is supposed to go all the way to this side. I'll just have to ease that in just a little bit. Let me get my scissors for the bow. I bent this needle. Or not needle, pin. Probably, who the heck knows? Probably sewed over it at some point in time. But it is, I don't know if you guys can see, it's very nicely bent. Get rid of that. This one here might be okay. No, probably not. Definitely not. Okay, let's. This is so tedious. Ow. I had originally bought these ginormous scissors here so that I could cut the steel boning because it said that it would go through metal and stuff, and then it didn't. So I like messed. It has like a groove in them where I attempted to. So now I just use them for this because it can cut plastic. It just couldn't cut through the steel boning, the spiral steel boning that I have, which, like I said, I decided not to use on this because I want to be able to wash it if I need to. If I wear it for a cosplay or something like that, to a convention, I don't want to not be able to wash it because, you know, yuck. And I'm making it out of all washable fabric. So, I mean, this is a cotton voile, which is why it's very drapey and it's very see-through, as you can tell. But this is going to be underneath everything, so no one but me is going to see it. And there's a dress that layers on top of it, the white portion of that dress, which I'm making out of linen. I have those pieces cut out as well. I decided to finish this part so I can move on to that part, because that part I haven't made yet at all, not even a mock-up for. And that one looks a little bit looser, so I don't think the fitting is going to be an issue. But hopefully I won't be wrong about that. That would be really tragic. Ow. forever stabbing myself with pins. I keep having to flip it back and forth because I can't get to the boning from the other side. And I have to push it up, cut some of it off, and then shove it back in there. And then make sure it's like far enough up. I probably cut a little too much off of there. I keep hitting into my microphone. Sorry. Oh, I didn't do this one. There's pieces of boning all over the place. The other day when I was doing it too, it was the same thing. It was all over the place. I'm sure there's probably still some on my floor. There's definitely a pin on my floor. That would hurt. I'm almost done. I got 3 more boning channels to go. Oh, that one's pretty short already. Maybe I don't need to trim that one down. Let's see. That one's quite short already. Okay, maybe I don't have to do that one. Yay. Just one less. Last one, yay! I don't know if that's... Okay. Now we can sew the skirt on. Yay! I'm just laughing at one of my cats. This is a box over here that I got from Mood Fabrics because I bought fabric for a skirt and some other things that I was making. And my cat is in it. And he's not a little cat. He's quite a large cat, so he's fitting in that box. It's kind of funny. I have to be really careful when I'm backstitching here because the zipper is right here and that will absolutely break my needle. If I backstitch over the zipper, that will be really tragic. Let me get my pin thing. And this is not really designed for pins. This is actually a tool thing that I just bought from the store and use my pins in because it has a really strong magnet and it keeps them in there. Sorry, I'm gonna hit that. For some reason, the seam allowance is weird on this piece. Hmm. Center back. What is this? I sewed over a piece of boning. I think it's okay though. It was only part of it. It was only a little bit. And it didn't break my needle, so. Thank goodness for that. I mean, I have other needles. It's just a pain in the butt when it breaks. I thought for a second I did it wrong. But that wouldn't be the first time, I'm sure. So this is the lining. Okay, this is the lining layer. This is the outside. And then this here is the outside of the skirt part. So this is the inside of it. This is the outside. So I think the next part is to press it up and the waistband up, and then top stitch the other piece down. I'm just gonna clean up a little bit over here because it's kind of a mess, and I don't really need any of these tools anymore. From here, we can finish the dress by sewing the outer layer of the bodice in a similar way that you would a normal finishing layer. So you press under the seam allowance along the bottom, all along the center front. Top of the seam, fold down the burgundy. I don't have burgundy. So she will have a little extra ease. You can create a little pleat